Welcome back to the Phil Rosenberg Show. I am your host, Philip Rosenberg, and I have a very exciting show today. I have a man who has worn more hats than most women own or have ever owned in their lifetimes. That man is Bill Overton. Bill, I want to thank you very much for being with me here today. And I want to tell people a little bit about you. Most people know who you are, but there's a couple of youngsters maybe that would maybe not know the whole story. So let me tell them, actually not the whole story, but a little piece of it. So you were a great athlete. In high school, you were a great athlete. In college, and you spent a little bit of time even as a professional athlete, both in the United States and in Canada. And then you went on to do a myriad of things, including acting, including construction real estate projects, including, it's easier to ask you, and let me do that. Let me ask you, what have you not done that you would like to do? Because and then also go ahead and list, why not? List a few things that you've done real quick that you want to highlight that you think are important that we need to know about you right away.
Pretty well, thanks again. Thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you. And I don't think I'm as renowned as you think I am, but I mean, a few people might know. I tend to be low key. So in any event, I've had some good fortune along the way in college and professionally as a football player. Got treated like hamburger, and I left, and I went to New York to pursue some other things. On my bucket list of things to do, I got my tuxedo, tailor-made tuxedo, if it doesn't have any holes in it, in the closet, waiting for the Academy Awards to call me so I can get nominated for something that I had yet to do. But I've got a bunch of projects I'd like to produce, okay, and so I'm ready for that. Then a couple of real estate projects I'd like to do as well, if the Lord allows me that opportunity.
So let's talk about, I mean, that's a perfect lead-in to yet another one of the things that you've done so well and so excellently, which is you're also a published author. You've had a book published, which it's a lot of pictures and stories to go, a little bit of a story to go with each of those pictures. And so you have that handy. I know we're going to show it a little bit. Let's show it right now. Okay. Because we're talking about what can be done in terms of production. What will you be invited to the Oscars for after having produced it? Well, how about a production of this gorgeous book? Hold that up just a little bit more. The Media, Shaping the Image of a People. And tell me, a little bit closer, a little bit up, just so we can see the bottom, upwards, north, up, 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 up. There we go. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay. So now, thanks. So now tell us a little something about that, and then let's talk about it, maybe a transition. How do we get that from where it is to where it's going to be?
Okay, well, the book, The Media Shaping the Image of a People, is a passion of mine. It came from a collection of rare images that I have from the 19th century. Since high school, since the YMCA in Boston, I've had the good fortune of interacting with a lot of different people from different races and ethnicities, etc. And I learned along the way, especially in high school, where I went to school with a significant number of Italians, Irish, Jews, etc., that it was the foxhole mentality. It was all of us or none of us. I didn't have brothers and sisters. So I learned, and I've always appreciated other people's culture, and mostly didn't know that much about other people's culture, including my own, in high school, unless I was asleep in history class. So when I stumbled on a couple of these images at an old antique shop from the 19th century, it was sent a message to me that I wondered if the Jewish guys I went to school with, if they were aware of some of the significance of their own history, because they never mentioned it to me.
So give me an example of a piece of Jewish history that you found a lot of Jewish people had previously been unaware of, something that you uncovered for them, real quickly, like maybe one or two things.
There's a picture in the book, I don't know what page it's on, and it's from the 19th century, it would have been 1860 something, where a guy, this is in Russia, where the image is, now this is a caricature. Now, I don't remember the name of the picture of the artist at the top of my head. But
that's okay, because we're going to go out and get the book and find this picture. We're going to buy the book, find this picture, and then we'll know for ourselves. I know my audience members are saying that. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
This Russian guy is whipping a Jewish person, and the quote says, "Your money or your life." Man, that pissed me off. And I'm talking, I mean, I'm not talking 1960, 1940, 1910. This is mid 1800s. I was shocked. Didn't know. Okay. And then I've got another interesting picture of a Jewish synagogue from the 19th century. That's actually it might have been the first one in New York. And I put it specifically beside a picture of the Palestinians from a 19th century image side by side, because in my mind, in my heart, I wanted to see peace. And I said, you know what, if someone says, well, how come you put that picture next to each other? I wanted to say, well, they're like first cousins. So we need to stop this. That's how the book itself captures, images of Mormons, images of blacks, images of Native Americans. So
and what is the message? If you had to boil it down and say the message of my book is,
okay, it's again all of us or none of us. So usually you would think if someone of my particular persuasion does a book, they tend to be put in categories. Okay, I'm African American, so okay, he does a book. People have said to me, well, this book is about black people. No, it is not. It's about the history of the media of all of us, but starting in the 19th century, when they first started using pictures like on the front cover of publications. And the most prominent publication at that time was Harper's Weekly, but there were a few others. So it's about, I wanted to show, as opposed to pontificating about this or that, I wanted to show by example. Okay, this is what was going on. And now we need to go. And then I connected the then and the now. John Lewis passed away. An amazing human being who was about all of us. Okay, all of us. So I had the good fortune of meeting him. Matter of fact, the picture that's in my book where President Clinton is doing a presentation on Martha's Vineyard, he's actually reading from John Lewis's autobiography. I mean, it's a very, very special. So I think it was the 35th anniversary of Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. So that picture of Clinton reading John Lewis's book is in my book. And I'm just, man, John Lewis and anybody else from there. He was 80. Okay, he got me by a few decades. Okay, but he was tired, I'm sure, of refighting the battle that we're fighting now. I'm tired of fighting the battle that I thought we fought and won. Okay, and so the people that are coming now, I don't know how old Nick Cannon is, or Deshaun's probably 30 something. I mean, there's a lot for them to learn. There's a lot for us to learn, black, white, brown, etc. Okay, I have no tolerance for anybody that's going to spew hate against anybody. End of story. Till they put me in the ground, that's what I believe.
But if someone does it, should they be ostracized from society? And if the answer is yes to that, should part of that should part of their being kicked out of society be also, by the way, you are not entitled to that high-paying job that you had where the expectation was that you would not bring hatred along with you, that you have now shown exists?
I don't know. I'm not for somebody losing their job. I don't care who it is, because, and let's say when someone makes a statement like that, and again, they're using their mouth. What is it saying? You are what people, what you answer to is what you are. Okay, so I don't think you can call me what you want. You're not gonna break me. Okay, I don't think you lose your job if you say some things denigrating or misogynist or what have you. Now maybe you get you get chastised. Yeah, I'll use your term, ostracized. Yeah, you get brought down on the carpet. Yeah, and get horsewhipped maybe. Losing a job, that's a different situation. I mean, I got because you might have a wife, you might have a family, you got mouths to feed, all of that. I mean, you get suspended. I mean, there are ways to, what does it say? The punishment should fit the crime. And I'm not trying to be the judge and the jury on any of this.
Look, so now let's just dig a little bit. We only have a couple minutes left. Let's dig a little bit deeper into the George Floyd stuff. So I say George Floyd stuff, that's a minimization stuff, to use the word stuff. The reality is, of course, George Floyd is dead. His family is grieving. Society, to a large degree, grieves along with him. But sadly, again, maybe more sadly than anything else, is that George Floyd is a data point, meaning he is one of many,
Yeah.
not one of one. And so we have an uprising of people who have had enough. And then we also, that's happening in the midst of a pandemic and an economic meltdown. And all-time high in terms of inequality of finances. A tiny minority of people have it all, and the majority of people have varying degrees of a few of their crumbs. Some, right, with a huge number of people, right, we're facing the possibility of 30 million evictions in the United States. Mm-hmm. So put all this into our gigantic kettle, stir it around, and we have uprisings in nearly every major city in the United States have been taking place over the course of the last couple of months, including several different attempts at secession. People declaring their portion of a city now no longer under the influence or no longer responsive to the laws of the United States, right? Now separate areas. This is the world that we're living in, and I want to ask you, a man who has had his eye on race relations and has experienced race very personally for decades, what is the difference between the civil rights movement before, where you thought you had achieved what you wanted and realize now that you haven't because of all these things? What is the difference between before and now?
Well, I think media is right in the middle of all of this. There were things going on before that we did not know. Case in point, some of the things that happened to me as a college athlete at Wake Forest, coming off the football field, having things thrown at me, and my teammates having things said to us. If that was to happen now, it would go viral. It would go everywhere. And then the university, whoever we were playing against, would be in big trouble. I had this happen. My cousin is the starting quarterback for Ohio State. Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know his name because I don't follow college sports.
Justin Fields. Okay, but when he was at the University of Georgia, something unfortunate happened to him in the stands, and it's America. Okay. It got complicated. I'm not going to go into complication. He ended up leaving. The person got in trouble who said what he said in the stands. But you look around.
What did they say? What did they say? You can say it.
They call him out of name and
use the N-word.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then they've done Boston, where I'm from. Okay, the Red Sox have had issues and tried to do some good things to turn it around to get the public aware. You don't just say certain things when you go to a sporting event anywhere, but certainly not at Fenway Park now. So you've got people who have done things at baseball games. People have thrown banana peels on soccer fields in Europe. I mean, we got a lot of people who, in my mind, are cowards. We should be lifting everybody up, not suppressing people. Not suppressing people when it comes to vote, not suppressing, the females right now, what's the Ellen Dawn, I forgot her last name. She's a former MVP, last year's MVP, WNBA. Okay, have you heard about what's happening with her? She's got Lyme disease. So she might have to opt out of this season, and so they don't want to pay her. I'm going, you gotta be kidding me.
That has always been true. The oppressed never wants to be oppressed. When the dominant culture, however, begins to have a stake, when they say enough is enough, is that a change? Is that something that's happening today that wasn't true 25, 35 years ago? Or
yes. Yeah, it's changed because of the scale. Okay, when you have the corporate sponsors, like they're putting the heat on Daniel Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, saying, if you don't do this, we're pulling our money out. Okay, when we challenge as a nation, when we challenge apartheid in South Africa, we the NAACP and other groups, Jewish, other groups, Catholics collectively said apartheid is wrong. To hell with this. If you don't, and we want to, Harvard University, divest our pension money from your economy if you don't fix it. South Africa still got problems, but that's the power of the dollar.
Let me ask you a question, Bill. I mean, you're saying the media is putting forth an image. Okay, that's true. What the media does, how they choose to cover it, what they choose not to cover has an effect. But also, let's just observe the quantitative and qualitative difference between what Donald Trump is doing and what Barack Obama did. So if you just objectively report both of those things, you're going to come away with like the world loving one thing and not so much loving the other, at least in lots of places in the world. So I don't want to just say it's the media only that just provides this like glorious, wonderful, pretty representation of Barack Obama and this, you know, ugly troll-like representation of Donald Trump. Well, maybe there may be some truth in there, but that's not the whole story. I agree,
but understand, in my humble opinion, Barack came from, quote, nowhere and became a media sensation after he did that outstanding speech at the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah.
Okay. The media has evolved significantly since he arrived on the scene and then passed the baton. The reason I have our current president, his name on the back of my book, the cover, on the back cover of the book, is because I thought he was a master in media understanding and manipulation. Okay. Now, and because of that, you got all of these offshoots in the social media world, all of these different entities that are not necessarily putting forth what I think is the best message to bring us all together. The people have their own agendas. Okay, and I see a lot more divisiveness that's in our face now, as opposed to what I saw back then. Now, that's what I think.
Okay, in 30 seconds, tell me. Here's a big question. 30 seconds you have. How do we fix it?
Okay, I personally believe that if we celebrate each other's history, who we are, not what we look like, who we are, the soul of the Native Americans, the real stories of what happened. How do we get to where we are? I think if we do that, I think our young people will. And so there's going to be, what do you call it? A come to Jesus moment, if you would, where the older people are going to have to say, you know, we didn't know this or we should have told you this. But the bottom line is we're passing the baton to you young people. So you need to know the baton that you're receiving. And as opposed to letting our kids be stuck on cell phones and tabloids and electronic stimuli, get them to read a doggone book or a newspaper or a magazine and drill down deeply so we do understand the history of the African Americans, of the Jews, of the Native Americans, of the Italians, of the Irish who came here as indentured slaves to a certain degree as well.
Of America.
Of America. And then say, and then expect other countries might do the same thing because we show them. Remember what Nelson Mandela, truth and reconciliation. They didn't say, okay, white people did this to us, now we're going to run them in the damn ocean, right? No, he said, we don't need to do that. We're bigger than that. I think America needs to do the same thing through truth and reconciliation, is accept what we've done, good, bad, and otherwise, and then say, it's all of us, and sit down and talk.
On that happy note, Bill, thank you so much for joining me today. I am looking forward. Oh, where can I pick up your book? Sorry, tell me. Where can I get your book?
It's a good question. I know that some copies are available through Amazon. I have all the remaining inventory. I'm going to, sooner or later, have a website and make it available. But my focus is on trying to create an electronic version, an ebook, and also a dynamic book. So I'm chasing the money here and there and turn it all into an academy, et cetera. That's my plan.
We're on that page. All right. Bill, thank you again for joining me today. It has been a pleasure, enlightening, eye-opening, and I can't wait to do it again. Hi, this is Phil of the Phil Rosenberg Show, and I'm here to ask you to do me a small favor. Just take your finger, reach out, click the button that says subscribe. Just take your finger, reach out, and click the button that says subscribe. I need a bunch of subscribers. The more subscribers I have, something good happens, I don't even know what that is. They tell me I got to have more subscribers. I believe them. So please do that for me. I'd appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the show.